Hello again, lovelies, and welcome back to Mama G Gear. It's Mama G here, and Rusty is at work. At the time of this filming, it's Tuesday, July 16th, 2024, and happy birthday to my son, Tony. Anyway, I'm in the process of trying to create something, so this video is an unconventional tutorial. And don't quit my day job. I don't see a singing career in my future or past. Anyway, so let me explain what yarn I'm using first, and then we'll get through this very quickly. This is Red Heart Roll With It Tweed. It's 100% acrylic. There's 296 yards or 271 meters. The colorway is violet. It's a 4-weight. Absolutely love this yarn. Well, I love tweeds. If you didn't know, mandala tweed stripes, which is discontinued, is my ultimate favorite. That's a 3-weight. This is, I'm gonna say, probably one of my favorite 4-weights. All right, I don't want to get, because there's a couple other ones that I like too, but I really like this, and I love these colors. I'm really loving like blues and purples together. I just think that's super pretty. I usually go for the green and purple, but I like green. Actually, blue, green, and purples look really pretty together. Anyway, enough babbling about the yarn. So what I've done is with my Furls wooden, let's see if I can get up close enough for you. It's a J hook, which is a 6mm, and super lightweight. Love the Furls. Yeah, just I love the longer ergonomic hooks. They don't pressure the palm. And I made, to get that aside, I did 2 big granny squares. Now each of these granny squares that I made were 1 cake each. Actually, one was a little short. I don't know whether it was my tension, but I had to dig into this to add a little bit to, I think, this one here. It was only one side, so that might have been my tension being the issue of it not being exactly the same, or maybe they skimped on one or added on the other one. But anyway, I made it to where it's I don't have a measuring tape to tell you the width, but if you're making one, you want to make it where when you attach both sides, that this is going to fit around you comfortably, however you want it. Okay, now let me show you. All right, so here's the 2 squares, and of course they're not exact, but that's part of the charm of these. A little bit of randomness, chaos. Okay, so what I've been doing, let me see if I can get you in here. This is how I design stuff. If this is your first unconventional tutorial, this is what this is all about. I just kind of show you how I figured these things out, so you kind of wing it with me. All right, so I made 2 large granny squares. And then what I'm going to do, let me stop myself there and explain what I've done in the past. What I've done in the past in other ones is sewed both sides, and then on the top went straight across and made sleeves and a front and a back on the top with a hole with a section for the neck, and it was a pullover. And I've made several of those. I like those, but this one I wanted to try a cardigan. So let's get back to where I was. So I'm going to attach the 2 squares together, and that's going to be the actual back of the sweater. And then fold in the sides in half, and the front side here is going to be the front panels. And I'm not going to attach the front panels because I want this to be a cardigan. Okay. Then when you have it folded properly, what I do, there might be many other ways to do this, but how I do it is I start right in the perfect fold. I attach the yarn, and we'll chain 45 because I want to continue the granny stitch up down the sleeves and across the front and back. So now I'm going to first work on the back of the sweater. So I count 45, chain 45, and I'm going to turn my work and granny stitch. Wait, no. I think single chain across to the 45 on this side. No, I'm lying. Hold on. Let me rethink. Hence why this is unconventional, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. All right, so I go 45 across. That's going to allow me to do granny stitches there. And I'm also going to tie another one and go 45, chain 45 across that way, and let the yarn hang. Let that cake hang, because that's going to go to the front. Now this is what I usually do when I'm doing it the same on back and front, where this one I haven't quite figured it out, apparently, allegedly. But to do the back, just going to go straight back and forth with the granny stitch from arm to arm and up into the point where it's going to meet. When you're going to connect the front of the sleeve and the back of the sleeve, is going to be comfortable to go across your shoulder, across the back of your neck, and then on the other side. And then apparently I haven't figured out the front part, but that's part of the charm. Because if I go across there 45 and then go back, yeah, that would work. Okay, so then I would go here 45, I've already done the chain. So I'm going to go back and forth with the granny stitch again all the way up to that meets, but I'm only going to the center. And then this side I would have to attach another yarn. All right, I would attach another yarn to the other side, and I don't know whether I'd start it at the end. I think I would start it here, and that would be opposite that side. Okay, either way, you start it on either that side or that side and go back and forth. And I apologize for the craziness, because I'm just figuring this out as I'm talking to you. But doing that, all right? So then you're going to have them, and you're going to stitch them together, and you're going to leave the opening on the neck. And then I'll take a trim and trim the whole neck and down, and probably around the bottom of the sweater, and then back up. And I will leave slots, or I can probably use just the holes from the granny stitch. And then I want to put buttons along one side. So clearly I haven't figured out that point, because I usually don't plan this far ahead. I usually plan like to here, and then go from there, think of the next step, then go from there, think of the next step. So as I'm filming this, I'm figuring this out. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm going to make, and hopefully it will be a granny square cardigan, and I'll probably have enough yarn. I know I'll have enough yarn, but I'll probably put a hood on this, and I will show you progress on the way, because sometimes I start these and I don't show you the progress and then show you the finished project, if I remember anyway. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, and yeah. I'm going to get back to this. I got the AC on. I'm nice and comfortable, because it's a little bit hot outside, and we will talk to you soon. Hey, don't forget your thumbs. Always appreciated. And if you're not subscribed, and I wasn't that horrible in this video, consider subscribing. We totally appreciate you guys joining our Yarnalicious family. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Part 2. Okay, I figured I might as well add this on to try to show you what I was trying to explain to you. All right, so this is folded in half. I just did a, instead of doing a whip stitch or anything like that, I literally just did a single crochet in every stitch going down the center to attach the 2 granny squares, and then folded it. So this will be the front panels. And then instead of counting stitches, I literally, that's the center, of the 3. And here's the center of the 3. And then I just kind of went, okay, that's that together, that's together, that's together, that. And I just made them even on back and front, where it gave me 1 granny stitch, which is 3 stitches. So I tied this cake to that center piece, and this is where I'm going to chain 45 and then come back and go along the back part of the sweater. But before I do that, I did the same on this side and attached this cake. I know this is probably way more complicated than it needs to be, but this is how my brain works and it works for me. So if it doesn't work for you, you figure out an easier way, please go with it and let me know. All right, so then I also tied in the same spot on this side. So I will chain 45 on this side first, and then put a stitch marker on that last 45th chain and just let it sit here. Okay, and then do 45 on this side, turn my work and go back, and I'm going to crochet on the back panel with granny stitches all the way down to the 45 on the end of here, turn it around, come back along the back panel down to the other end of the 45, turn it around and come back, and that's going to bring me however many rows I would need to make the width, half of the width of what I want my sleeve to be. Does that make sense? Let me do this and I'll put you on pause and then show you. Maybe that'll be helpful. So hang in there. Okay, just want to show you real quick that on this corner I chained 45 and then put a stitch marker on the 45th chain and leaving that alone. And then on this side I just tied a knot, literally triple tied it, and chained 45. But then when I got to 45 I chained 3, did a double crochet and went into the single bump on the back and did 2 more. So that's my first granny stitch. So then I'm going to go 1, 2, and then in the third bump I'm going to do another 3 double crochets. Whoop, hopefully, allegedly. And then I'm going to count again, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going into the bump, not the double stitch. I'm going into the bump, which doesn't make a difference because I'm going to add, you know, the front of the panels and the front of the sleeves onto this bottom piece. So it's not a big deal, but just the way I like to do it. All right, so I'm going to continue doing that all the way, and hopefully that will mesh well into the back. Otherwise you just got to fudge it, not a big deal. And I'm going to put you back on hold as I do that. Alrighty, popping back in here to show you the progress. So in that single loop I went and finished the granny stitches, and when I'm coming right to where I attached it in the center of this granny stitch, speak much? I'm here and I have like 2 stitches here, so I'm going to just go completely, you know, not go into that. I'm going to go right into the back of the sweater. Does that make sense? Because I tied it in the middle of the 3rd. So now I'm going to go into this, and I'll just yarn that tail that I had. I'm just going to attach that there so it's tucked, so I don't have to tuck it later. So there's 1, 2, and then 3, and this stitch is the first stitch onto the back panel of the sweater. All right, so I'm going to turn it this way, so now you see what I'm doing. So now I'm doing all along the back. Alrighty, and I'll be back. And the next little hurdle is when you come to the attachment. This is the 2 separate panels, and this is where I single crocheted them together. You have 2 corner pieces, but I don't want to do a chain, you know, a cluster here and a cluster there, because that's going to be wider than what these are. So I'm going to do the cluster right where I connected them together. I'm going to go right into that single crochet that I did. All right, I'm going to go right into there because I don't want to do 2 of them, because then it will be stretched out. See how that worked out? I'll do the next one so you can see it better. Oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Here we go. Okay, so now, there we go. See how that worked out? Hopefully I'm in the camera. Instead of doing on either side. So when you come to that seam, just go right in the middle of the two corners, okay? And I'm going to continue. And again, I've gotten back, now I'm all the way across the back, and I'm to where I've tied the 45 chain. And that, again, like the other side, is in the middle of this cluster. So, and also when I was attaching this last cluster, I tucked the strand from the tying of that underneath here, so I don't have to worry about tucking that in later and tying that in later. But I didn't want to go to the third because that would offset it. So I'm going to go into the second bump, if I could find it. There it is. I'm going to go right into the second bump, hopefully, allegedly, and do a granny stitch here. And I'm hoping that the math will work out to that when I get to the end of this row of 45, that the very last stitch I'll be able to do a cluster. We'll find that out as we go along, but I'm going to work my way down now, and I'll be back. And hello again. So now I'm to the end, and I think I might have messed up a little bit on this sleeve as far as counting the 3s back bumps, but I'm at the point where I've got this last stitch, okay? Now I counted the clusters, and this sleeve, this end of the sleeve, will be one cluster short than the other one, but that's because the clusters are going to alternate from row to row. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to do on that last bump, I'm going to go right into this, right into the hook here. So I'm going to do a granny stitch in here, and I can tighten it up when I start the other side. So I'm going to do a granny stitch here, or granny cluster, and then chain 3, turn my work and go back into the very first one, because I want to gain one more cluster. So I'm going to add a granny stitch up them in there. So there's a granny stitch, and then go back into the granny stitches from here. And I think this is going to work out. I may have to add, like once I pull this tight, I may have to add a couple stitches when I'm doing the front piece. But that should work out, because one, you know, they're askew, the granny stitches. So that should work. If it doesn't, I will let you know. All right, putting you back on hold. Now I'm just going to keep going up and down on here until I get to the height where I want it to be, where it's going to rest comfortably right at the top of my shoulder line and the back of my neck. Hello again, lovelies. I just wanted to, this is the last video of this sweater, so I'm going to hopefully throw this on the end of the other videos. But I did finish the sleeves. This is I'm using the Red Heart roll with it. It's 100% acrylic, and the colorway was violet. And I had 6 cakes of that, and there's 296 yards in each cake. And I have this left and 1 whole cake left. And I'm going to add a hood on the sweater. But I just wanted to show you what I've done, where I made the 2 squares, which you've seen previous, and then went across the full back all the way down to the end of the sleeves, back and forth, and then one side halfway, the other side halfway. And now all I'm doing is a couple rows of single crochets going up and down the front of both sides. I'm in the process, as you can see here. Then I got to tuck in some ends, and then I will add a hood around the top. But it goes past my buttocks, and which I prefer sweaters to be a little longer, and it's a little big on me, which again is kind of frumpy, is kind of my style. Yeah, so it's working out well. It's all been the granny stitch, except for, of course, the single crochet down the front. I haven't yet really decided what stitch to use on the hood. I may do the granny, I may not. When it's all done, I'll show it to you in another video, but I'm going to stop this video so I can upload it. And I just quickly wanted to show you this really cute felted hat that I scored. It's made in Italy. It's 100% wool. Lovelies. I don't know. Can't even speak English, let alone Italian. But I thought this was so cute. It fits me great, and I love the little felted flowers that they attached. And I'm thinking that and I love this idea too, with just pulling it through the edge and the trim. But I think I might, if you have any ideas, I think I'd like to like jazz this up a little bit. So I'm not quite sure, because you got the two little folds here that were sewn, and I could easily stitch something like this around here. I could take these flowers off and create something else, whether it be knitted. Knitted, yeah, right. I was just watching Diane from My Pink Bathtub Knits. Please go check her out. And I have Christmas music in my head now. Diane, thank you for that. Anyway, oh yeah, she's doing an Advent, so if you definitely go check them out. Go comment on all the days that she opens up her gifts and does her Advent. You can win. She's doing a gift away. Anyway, hello cousin. But anyway, yeah, I might do a crochet around it, or maybe I'll wet felt something and put it in here. I haven't decided, but I thought it's adorable. It fits nice, and it's wool. Yada yada. Throw it over there. And I'm also, this is only a few that I just did now, but I'm hanking up on the Swift. I'm hanking up little mini hanks. Aren't they cute? Not 100% sure. Rusty and I have an idea of something that you might be seeing in the near future. All right, I guess that's it. So pretty much the sweater is almost completely done. Like I said, tie in some ends and put a hoodie on it. I've got a doctor's appointment today, so I might bring this with me and work on the hood if I have to wait. So anyway, love you guys. Thank you. Don't forget the thumbs. Totally appreciate it. As of the time of this filming, we did just hit our 3K, but they give and take a little, just saying. So if you aren't already subscribed, please consider doing so and help us stick to that 3K. Anyway, love you. See you soon, and bye-bye for now.